Hemnet is the biggest property portal in Sweden. We have home buyers and we have home sellers. Our job is to make those people meet and make sure there is a transaction. We use Signify's Lupa Automate service. It allows us to build audience based on the data on our platform, and so we can advertise outside of the Hemnet platform. And this allows us to greatly extend the reach and also get a great service to our customers. For the customers who have bought the Lupa Automate product, listing traffic has increased by 50% during the days that the Lupa Automate campaign is active. We have seen a very high uptake in leads for those ads, which is a great performance. I think it's a great addition. I think it's a very quick way to extend your product offering, and I think it's a great service for the end user who want to list on the property portal.
So thank you very much for joining us. Now, I honestly, I clearly have heard of housing.com, PropTiger and Makaan, but I hadn't heard of Elara Technologies. So perhaps you can give us a bit of a background of why did you form Elara Technologies, and how did you then get your hands on housing.com, PropTiger and Makaan?
So Elara is actually the umbrella company, right? It's a parent company for housing, PropTiger as well as Makaan. And Elara Technologies was started by Dhruv Agrawala, who I believe has been on your conference a few years ago. And he started off with PropTiger in 2011. And PropTiger is a traditional brokerage company and has been largely been running under the offline model. And along the way, he acquired Makaan in 2015. So Makaan is a marketplace, and then housing in 2017. So there's a reason why we brought all these brands under one umbrella. So one is that we saw a massive opportunity in real estate. So if you look at the Indian real estate market, it's currently short of about $180 billion. And it's been growing at about a 10% CAGR over the last 10 years. But our hope is that over the next 10 years, it's going to grow at probably north of a 20% in terms of CAGR and evolve into a $1 trillion market by 2030. The second is we think that given the internet growth in India, and India is about 400 million internet users, second largest internet base after China, and even bigger than that of the US. And we think that it's probably going to double to about 750 to 800 million users over the next 5 to 6 years. And we also saw a considerable number of pain points in the market. So one is there are no standard products and services for the Indian consumer or for the Indian seller. The second is there are supply issues in the market, both in terms of quantity as well as quality of supply. And you end up seeing a lot of fake listings on portals. Third, it's a very, very unorganized market. So realtors or the agents in India really don't need to be registered, for example, to either rent homes or to resell homes. So you're talking about an unorganized market with a very long tail and a lot of trust issues between agents and owners. And also we felt that the take rates on classifieds tend to be far lower in India. So considering that, we wanted to put together a platform which operates as a full stack, where we can do supply aggregation and be a leader in terms of supply, do a demand aggregation, and also help customers with transaction fulfillment.
Okay, so it's an end-to-end model that you're trying to assemble around this. Now, who are the major investors?
In terms of the major investors, we have quite a few investors in the cap table because of the way the Elara Group was put together. But in terms of major investors, one is the REA Group out of Australia. The second is News Corporation based in the US. SoftBank, which was a very strong investor with housing. And on the VC side, we have quite a few VCs, but I'll just mention two. One is Axel Partners, which has presence in US, Europe, as well as in India, and the other in CEF partners. And one thing that I want to mention here, Simon, we're very, very fortunate to have two large strategic investors. One is the REA Group, and second is News Corporation. So what we are trying to actually build here is not just a business based in India, but a global business leveraging the strengths that our investors have to offer.
Okay, so let's look a bit more about what that looks like. You mentioned, let's start with PropTiger, because I think this sort of helps build the end-to-end. You said PropTiger was a traditional brokerage business. So, what does it do? Is it literally just operate with hundreds of or thousands, I guess, of employees, or are they trying to automate the end-to-end sale of real estate?
Well, I think during the COVID period, one of the things which is very, very heartening to us is that we have seen a lot of transactions happen online. And we have a fairly large sales team in PropTiger. We do not believe that the way to go is to build a sales team which runs into the many thousands. Because in the transactions business, one of the major constraining factors is the unit productivity per employee. So on the average, you can expect somebody to sell, let's say, 1.5 units per month in terms of new homes sold. And even if you look at a company like Sofan in China, they have only gone so far as to sell about 2 to 2.5 units per employee. So the moment you start aggregating a very large sales team, you're going to run into an issue of dwindling productivity and ultimately run into losses and not be able to expand margins. So what we're trying to do on PropTiger is really a couple of things. One is we're trying to automate the business as much as possible. And unlike traditional brokerages, we have a very strong technology platform in our DNA, and we're investing considerably in technology, be it the way we look at relationship managers, the way we assign leads to them, the way we score leads, the way we score transaction quality. And we ultimately hope to build an asset-light model. And this is where the full stack comes into play, because on the housing side and Makaan side, we are the largest demand aggregators in the country. And on the housing side, we have about 200 to 300,000 brokers who have registered with us. So the idea is to work very closely with the brokers and build an asset-light model where transaction closures will be facilitated by both the PropTiger sales team as well as the housing brokers.
Okay, so PropTiger has brokers and sales team, housing.com as well, has it?
Yeah, because housing, the monetization model is we work with developers, we work with agents as well, and other brokers that I mentioned, and we also work with owners.
Okay, so what is the difference between a PropTiger and housing.com? What are the key differences?
The key differences are housing is a consumer-facing brand for the company, and housing and Makaan together is the largest demand aggregator in the country. So we think that our audience is north of Magic Bricks and 99 Acres.
That's combined?
That's combined.
Yes.
And there's a reason why we operate two different marketplaces, right? Housing and Makaan offer complementary strengths. So Makaan has traditionally been stronger in the smaller cities, the tier 2, tier 3 cities in India, which is about, let's say, about 30-35% of the Indian real estate market. And housing is very strong in the tier 1 cities, which is close to about 70% of the market. And the audience overlap is about 20% between these two portals. So we are talking about a fairly unique audience across both housing as well as Makaan. On the housing side, the monetization model is, one is we offer advertising solutions for developers. And as you know, Simon, India is a large market in terms of new home sales. And the advertising solutions range from plain vanilla ad inventory to solution selling. Over the years, we have built very strong ad technology to drive a 360 marketing approach. The second solution that we offer to developers and increasingly to agents is a whole suite of content products, which includes stuff like drone shoots, virtual tours, walkthroughs, augmented reality, virtual reality, panoramic views. And on the agent side, we offer listing packages subscription and depth products as well. And at this point in time, we are focused more on the high value as well as the medium value agents. We are not looking at monetizing the long tail in India, which we ultimately hope to do through a digital sales solution, because that's a way to get to profitability and expand your margins. And on the PropTiger side, we are largely focused on selling new homes for top tier developers. So it's feet on street selling, and as I mentioned, now the market is transitioning towards selling homes online, so that's largely a commission-based model that any brokerage would operate on.
So across the Elara Group, roughly what percentage of revenue is advertising driven versus transaction driven?
At this point in time, it's evenly split between the two, advertising as well as transactions. And one of the things which we are trying to work on is, as I said, is a full stack solution where we can do end-to-end solutions for developers, and we have already started working on that. So when we work with developers and end-to-end solutions, we are looking at like a mandate or a sole selling model where we would, Housing and Makaan would work on the marketing plan for the developers. So there we do a marketing plan around the online channels. We synchronize with the offline campaigns, and we have a very strong marketing team. So we are able to combine both online as well as offline marketing. And we do the content bits for them in the sense of creating like virtual tours, creating like an online booking platform. And then we use PropTiger to fulfill the demand. And this is a win-win for developers for a couple of reasons. So one is we are a one-stop shop, right? So we pretty much take care of all their sales and marketing needs. So developers can focus on developing their product and leave the sales and marketing to us. The second is what I would say is like a LinkedIn analogy. I mean, when you look at job boards and when you look at LinkedIn, LinkedIn succeeded because ultimately they know not only the people who applied for the job, but the people who ultimately got the job. And that goes into a feedback loop in developing an algorithm on who's best suited for a particular job. So in the same way, right, because we do demand generation and housing, we know where the demand is coming from. We know where to find the users. We understand which users are making site visits and ultimately buying. And all this translates into a feedback loop for the developers. So creating lookalike audiences and all of that becomes far easier, and the ROI for the developers far higher than to have, let's say, one marketplace do the advertising solution and another brokerage do the selling without any synchronization between the two.
So what are the key challenges you have in building out this? You've got three businesses you've brought together. There's overlaps in what they all do. Do they operate individually, or or to what extent have you integrated them?
At this point in time, right, we operate them fairly independently. The sales teams are run separately. And the marketplaces essentially work at the top of the funnel, right? So where we are helping users in a search and discovery, and we are helping the developers and agents reach out and get in front of those users. And PropTiger operates more towards the bottom of the funnel, where once people have shortlisted their homes, we then go use a feet on street model, and right now an online sales model to consummate and to sell the transaction. So housing is more of a B2B business where we deal with developers, agents, and also now individual owners. And PropTiger is largely a B2C business. So the sales team is separate. We do end up having, for example, multiple touch points with developers. But on the housing side, for example, we largely deal with the marketing teams of the developers and PropTiger deals with the sales team. Obviously, we see this opportunity to work together on a full stack model, where, as I said, the marketplaces would source supply and generate demand, and PropTiger would end up fulfilling the supply and the demand that has been generated through housing. So in terms of the main challenges that we have faced so far for the business is one is, as you know, in India, supply is not exclusive to a particular agent. And if you look at the way sellers tend to distribute the supply, they tend to give the same supply to multiple agents simply because they do not have a good understanding of the agent. There's a lot of trust deficit between the agent as well as the seller. And the sellers also kind of struggle with price discovery and also with liquidity. So consequently, there's a lot of tendency on part of the brokers or the agents to post fake listings on the platform, which of course doesn't lend itself to a great user experience. And the way we are going about it is that we're moving to like a reviews and ratings of brokers, a kind of a carrot and stick approach, where agents who have better quality of supply and who tend to verify their supply either through geo verification or having our own teams verify the supply, get rated higher in terms of the relevance algorithm. The second is we're working on machine learning, particularly for images, and we are working on tools to enable detection of duplicate listings as well as images. So that's one challenge. The second challenge which we have had traditionally in India is in terms of audience scalability, but that's changing now. So if you take the top three marketplaces in the country, one which is Housing plus Makaan, Magic Bricks, as well as 99 Acres, the total audience session is about 100 million monthly and a user base of about 45 to 50 million users. And considering the base of internet users of about 420 million, it's not even like 7% of the internet audience that visits the real estate marketplace. And if you compare it with someone like REA, where about 30% of the internet universe visits a site, or if you compare it with about SoFund, which has about 100 million active users on a monthly basis. So one of the challenges all the portals have had is getting scale. But as I said, things are changing. We expect the internet audience to grow to about 2x to about 850 million. Smartphone penetration is expected to double from almost 20% to 40%. About 80 to 90% of search and discovery of property has now moved online. And we are seeing massive emergence of a massive new audience, particularly in vernacular. India has a lot of regional languages. We started seeing a lot of regional language users come to the marketplace. And we are seeing like a massive traction in app. So that's probably the fastest growing for us in terms of the audience. So overall, as I mentioned, right, the take rate for the classifieds is pretty low. So we are talking about 100 million classifieds opportunity as of date compared to an offline marketing opportunity of about $500 million to about $1 billion. And if you look at the way agents spend, about 20% of the agents spend online, and I believe over the next few years, you're probably going to see most agents come online. On the developers side, we are seeing print and outdoor holdings typically dominate about builder spend. But all this is changing because we have seen print spend declining. In fact, if you look at India, digital spends are expected to overtake print by next year. And last year was the first year when both newspaper advertising as well as magazine advertising declined year over year. And COVID may have well accelerated the slowdown in print. So we are looking at a classifieds market which is expected to grow anywhere between 35 to 40% on a conservative basis. So we are looking at the classifieds market opportunity to grow to anywhere to $500 million to $1 billion over the next couple of years.
No, man, just a couple of quick questions before we have to wrap up. The question that's reminded is you mentioned before that you're really on the path to profitability, which means at the moment I assume you're not profitable and you're still investing and growing the business. And it sounds like there's a combination of the growth of your businesses, bringing them together and extracting the value, and the market coming to you in terms of the digitization of the market versus the traditional fact that it's a 50-50 split between online and offline. If you roll the clock forward 3 to 5 years, is the majority of revenue for Elara Technologies coming from advertising revenues, so premium products and subscription-based products, etc., or is it coming from capturing commissions from the transaction?
I think the mix is probably going to be about 50-50, even going forward. Because as I mentioned to you, on the transactions business, we see a massive opportunity because even there the market is coming online. Buyers are increasingly buying projects online. In fact, we have launched some projects for developers completely online, where there is no physical site visit or no physical interaction with a salesperson, but people have to go online and buy the property. The second reason why I see a massive opportunity in the transaction business is the ability to move from an asset-heavy model to an asset-light model, where we intend to aggregate the thousands of housing agents that we have and help them work with us in the transactions business. And we are also seeing newer businesses come to the horizon. So, for example, we are seeing opportunities in commercial real estate. We are seeing new markets such as co-living and co-working, which is emerging in India, and student housing. So all of this bodes very, very well for the transactions business. And in terms of an advertising business, as I said, we are really going to see a massive shift from print advertising to digital advertising. So the market there is going to grow to north of $1 billion in a few years from now. And there again, we are seeing that sellers are also willing to come online. So for example, during the COVID period, we started experimenting with selling digitally in tier 2 cities to agents as well as developers, where again, there's no feet on the street on the ground, and people come online and buy their advertising and listing packages. And we have seen like significant uptake out there. So in all, looking at both advertising as well as transactions, we are seeing massive opportunities in both. And a market opportunity in transactions is about $5 to $6 billion at this point in time, across new homes, resale, as well as the rent segments. And putting that up with the growth on the classifieds business, we see a massive market opportunity over the next few years.
Fantastic, Manny. I love what you're doing. One very quick last question is, when do we expect to see housing.com in markets outside of India? Just a quick answer.
Well, I don't think we'll be moving outside of India but at least for the next few years. So I think there's a massive opportunity here. And as I said, in housing, we have largely limited ourselves to the top 8 tier 1 cities. There are about 85 to 100 tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And the market is moving online as we speak. So we don't intend to move outside of India for the foreseeable future.
Okay. Manny, thank you very much. It's very, very interesting what the Elara Technologies Group is doing. It's great that you've pulled all these businesses together, and wish you all the best in your growth of your business and your competition with the magic bricks and the 99 acres and the square yards of the world. So well done.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Hemnet is the biggest property portal in Sweden. We have home buyers and we have home sellers. Our job is to make those people meet and make sure there is a transaction. We use Signify's Lupa Automate service. It allows us to build audience based on the data on our platform, and so we can advertise outside of the Hemnet platform. And this allows us to greatly extend the reach and also get a great service to our customers. For the customers who have bought the Lupa Automate product, listing traffic has increased by 50% during the days that the Lupa Automate campaign is active. We have seen a very high uptake in leads for those ads, which is a great performance. I think it's a great addition. I think it's a very quick way to extend your product offering, and I think it's a great service for the end user who want to list on the property portal.